never imagined that the two people I loved most would leave me with nothing. After my husband passed away, I was drowning in grief when my son, Ethan, and my daughter, Madison, convinced me to sign several documents. They promised the paperwork would protect my finances. Trusting them completely, I signed without reading. Weeks later, I discovered the horrifying truth. They had transferred my home into their names, emptied my savings, buried me in debt, and left me homeless. At 60 years old, instead of enjoying retirement, I moved into a tiny apartment and took a job as a waitress at Murphy Diner, just to survive. Every day was exhausting. 10-hour shifts left my feet aching, my back sore, and my paycheck barely covered rent and groceries. Still, I forced myself to smile because I refused to let life break me. One regular customer caught my attention. His name was Henry. Every afternoon, he ordered only coffee and toast, carefully counting coins before paying. His worn clothes and quiet manners reminded me of my late father. One afternoon, I noticed he had skipped lunch because he couldn't afford it. Without thinking, I placed my own sandwich in front of him. He resisted at first, but eventually accepted. That simple act became the beginning of an unexpected friendship. After my shifts, we shared meals and talked for hours about family, loss, and betrayal. Henry confessed that after his wife died, his own children cared more about his inheritance than about him. I told him how Ethan and Madison had stolen everything I owned. We understood each other's pain in a way few people could. Although Henry looked poor, there was something unusual about him. He spoke with confidence, understood business, and carried himself with quiet authority. I never questioned it because I expected nothing from him. I helped him simply because kindness should never depend on someone's wealth. Everything changed one afternoon when Ethan walked into the diner wearing an expensive suit. For a moment, I hoped he had come to apologize. Instead, he laughed at my waitress uniform and humiliated me in front of customers, calling me a failure who deserved her miserable life. Before I could respond, Henry slowly stood. The timid old man vanished. His posture straightened, his voice became firm, and he looked Ethan in the eyes. How can any son publicly shame the woman who sacrificed everything for him? Ethan mocked him too, but Henry calmly pulled out an expensive phone and made one brief call. Suddenly, Ethan's confidence disappeared. The next morning, Henry revealed the truth. His real name was Henry Sullivan, one of the wealthiest businessmen in the state. After losing his wife, he had disguised himself as an ordinary struggling senior to discover who would treat him with genuine kindness. During all that time, I was the only person who shared meals with him, listened to him, and expected nothing in return. Henry had also investigated Ethan and Madison. He uncovered how they manipulated me into signing away my home while I was grieving. Even more surprising, his investment company had influence over Ethan's employer and several financial institutions connected to his loans. Henry wasn't interested in revenge. He believed people should face the consequences of their choices. Within days, Ethan lost his executive position, his finances came under review, and the comfortable life he had built began falling apart. The same son who abandoned me suddenly called every day, begging for help. Henry gave him one final chance: return every dollar, restore my home and savings, apologize sincerely, or lose everything. A few days later, Ethan arrived at the diner looking exhausted and defeated. Sitting across from Henry, he finally admitted his greed had destroyed our family. He signed legal documents returning everything he had stolen and for the first time looked into my eyes with genuine regret. Henry kept his promise. Ethan received another chance, but only after accepting full responsibility. Over the following months, Ethan attended counseling and slowly worked to rebuild my trust. Madison refused to admit any wrongdoing and chose to stay away. I accepted that not everyone is willing to change. Meanwhile, Henry became the family I never expected. One evening, he told me he planned to leave most of his fortune to me. I immediately refused, explaining I had never cared about his money. He smiled. That's exactly why you deserve it. He reminded me that while wealthy people ignored him, a struggling waitress who had lost everything willingly shared her only meal with a stranger. Looking back, I realized Henry's greatest gift wasn't his fortune. He gave me back my dignity, my confidence, and my faith in people. My children showed me how greed can destroy a family, but Henry proved that compassion can create a new one. I recovered my home, my savings, and my future, but the most valuable lesson was this. Real family isn't always connected by blood. Sometimes the people who truly love you are the ones who stand beside you when you have nothing left to give, except a kind heart. And in the end, one small act of kindness changed both of our lives forever.